All right, so let me throw something at you. Man, have you ever thought about what a real justice even means? Like, strip away the politics, the social media noise, fake outrage, what's left? Because somewhere along the line, we've all started confusing justice with revenge, truth with opinion, and morality with convenience. But then you come across something ancient, something that's been around for over 1,000 years, and it just hits different. It's not just rules on paper, it's a whole philosophy about how humans are supposed to live with honor, fairness, and balance. And the wild part, it's all there in Islamic teaching, raw, clear, uncorrupted. Stuff that literally flips how you think about power, truth, and what it means to be right. When I first heard it, I was like, wait, how come nobody's talking about this? It's deep, man. It's the kind of thing that doesn't just make you think. It makes you question yourself. So in this one, we're diving into something that's not just religious or historical. It's universal. This is about justice as a force of nature, a spiritual truth that stands even when the world's upside down. Stick around, because once you understand how deep this idea goes, you'll never look at fairness or yourself the same way again. You know what's crazy, man? When you really start digging into this concept of justice in Islam, it blows your mind. Like, we talk a lot about fairness and equality in the West, right? But this idea, justice being universal, not selective, is next level stuff. It's not just about being fair to your friends or people you vibe with. It's about being fair even to the ones who hate you. That's heavy, dude. Think about that for a second. Imagine a system where you're commanded to stand for truth, even if it's against yourself, your family, your tribe, your own damn ego. That's not just morality, that's discipline of the soul. In a world where everyone's picking sides, bending truth for their team, Islam's saying, no man doesn't belong to a side. It stands on its own. And that's wild because it forces accountability, spiritual jitsu move that flips the human tendency for bias. You can't fake justice in that system. It's written right into your conscience. It's not about how you feel about someone. It's about what's right. And that's such a lost concept today, you know. We've turned justice into this emotional popularity contest, but in Islam, it's like a divine law, something sacred that's tied directly to God's will. There's no loophole, no my version of justice. It's absolute. And when you realize that, kind of see how that principle could rebuild society from the ground up if people actually lived it. Because if justice is only for the people we like, it's not justice. It's favoritism with better PR. But if justice applies to everyone, even your enemy, you've stepped into something way more profound, a moral structure that doesn't bend to human weakness. Man, this idea of equality before God, it's one of those things that just hits different when you really think about it. Like, in the real sense, it destroys ego, levels the entire playing field. You can be a king, a billionaire, or a guy sweeping the floor in the back of a shop. It doesn't matter. In that divine courtroom, everyone stands at the same height. That's such a raw, powerful concept. It's not theoretical. It's not symbolic. It's real accountability. There's no celebrity pass, no backstage deal, no status that can buy your way out. Everyone's judged by what they do, not what they own, not who they know. And that's kind of terrifying, but also liberating, right? Because it means there's real fairness built into the system of existence. It's like this cosmic reminder that no human authority truly defines your worth. You could be living in a hut or flying private jets. When you stand before the truth, before God, none of that means a damn thing. And what's beautiful is that it strips away all that fake hierarchy we've built. See these moments in history, like when people from totally different walks of life would stand shoulder to shoulder in prayer. Kings next to slaves, rich next to poor, all facing the same direction. No VIP line, no special seating. And you realize that's not just ritual, that's a message. It's saying you are equal. You are human. you are accountable. And dude, that's the kind of equality people are still chasing through politics, money, activism, whatever. Here's a spiritual framework that had it figured out from day one. It's not man-made, it's divine. The idea that ultimate justice and equality exist beyond human corruption. That's the kind of truth that humbles you, man. You know what really trips me out, man? When you look at the Prophet Muhammad's example, peace be upon him, it's not just religious storytelling, watching a real life masterclass in moral integrity. This guy wasn't just talking about justice, he's lived it, even when it was uncomfortable, even when it went against people he loved. There's this moment that always sticks out. Someone from his own tribe committed a crime. People tried to convince him to go easy on them because of their status. And he straight up said if his own daughter had done the same, he would have applied the same punishment. Like, damn, that's a level of conviction that's almost alien today. Imagine having that much integrity when you've got total authority, when no one can question you, and you still choose what's right over what's convenient. That's not leadership, that's moral dominance, man. And what's wild is how consistent he was. No double standards, no bending the rules for power or fame. Even when people insulted him, betrayed him, or fought against him, he never reacted out of ego. He stayed rooted in justice, patience, and mercy. It's like he was operating on a higher frequency of self-control and purpose. And when you really break it down, that's what makes his example timeless. It's not about being a prophet in a spiritual sense only, about being a complete human being who refuses to let emotion or status corrupt principle. That's something that every leader, every influencer, every human today could learn from. Because the hardest test of power isn't winning it, it's staying righteous when you have it. And that's what he did, man. Over and over again, proving that real justice isn't preached. It's practiced, even when it costs you everything. Man, when you think about this in a modern context, wild how relevant it still is. Like, here we are in 2025 with all this tech, all this information, supposed progress, and yet we're still struggling with the same ancient problem, justice. We've got courts, laws, systems that are supposed to protect people, but they bend so easily under money, politics, or popularity. And then you look back at this Islamic concept of justice. It's pure, it's incorruptible, it's not for sale. It's saying you don't get to twist truth because it's uncomfortable. Imagine that being applied today, man. Imagine if leaders, corporations, even media worked on that principle of accountability before something bigger than themselves. The world would look completely different. We talk about doing the right thing. But Islam literally built an entire civilization around it, where justice wasn't just paperwork, it was spiritual duty. That's what blows my mind. Like, today, everyone's fighting over identity, ideology, who's right, who's wrong, but this idea cuts through all that noise. It's like this moral compass that doesn't care about tribe, race, or label. It only points toward truth. And in a time when cancel culture, misinformation, and outrage rule everything, that's exactly what we're missing. We've replaced principles with trends. Teaching says your integrity isn't supposed to fluctuate with public opinion. You stay grounded, fair, and honest no matter what's trending. That's the reflection, man. The world's starving for something ancient that's still more progressive than anything we've come up with. Real justice isn't about winning arguments or owning your opponents. It's about aligning yourself with truth even when it costs you comfort. And that's what this whole message screams in our modern world. Grow a conscience even when the algorithm doesn't reward it. You know what's fascinating, man? Deeper you look into this whole concept of justice in Islam, the more you realize it's not just about laws or rules, it's spiritual, like it's wired into the soul. It's not just don't do wrong because it's illegal, it's don't do wrong because it corrupts your spirit. That's a totally different level of consciousness. It's like the universe itself runs on balance. Day and night, life and death, cause and effect, and when humans mess with that balance through injustice, it's not just society that breaks, it's something cosmic. And this idea that justice is an act of worship, man, that's insane but beautiful. It means when you treat someone fairly, when you stand up for truth, when you refuse to exploit people, you're not just being a good person, you're literally aligning yourself with divine order. That's heavy. It flips the whole idea of morality from being social behavior to being spiritual energy. You're not doing it for reputation or followers or to look righteous. You're doing it because your soul knows that harmony and truth are the language of creation. And that's why injustice feels so disturbing deep down. It's not just unfair, it's unnatural. It's like your consciousness recognizes imbalance instantly. And when you think of it like that, you start realizing justice isn't just something we need in courts. It's something we need inside ourselves. Every time you cheat, lie, or stay silent when you know something's wrong, you're not just breaking a law, you're disconnecting from that higher source of order. And man, in a world where everything feels chaotic and fake, that spiritual side of justice might be the only real thing left. Because if you can't be right with truth, how can you be right with God? So when you really zoom out and look at all of this, man, the whole picture, it's kind of humbling. You start realizing that justice, equality, truth, all that stuff we throw around in conversations or politics, it's not just moral decoration. It's the foundation of who we're supposed to be, built into the architecture of existence. And what's wild is how these ancient teachings already had it figured out. Justice that's universal, equality that's real, leadership that's accountable, and a spiritual code that doesn't bend to ego or power. It's like humanity got the blueprint and then spent centuries trying to reinvent it in different ways, but it always circles back to the same thing. Doesn't need your permission, it just is. And I think that's what makes it powerful, because when you choose justice, not the performative kind, but the real inner kind, you're basically choosing to live in alignment with reality itself. You stop faking it, you stop bending it, you start seeing things for what they are. That's where real peace starts. Not in politics, not in religion as labels, but in that quiet space where your soul finally stops lying to itself. So yeah, if you're listening to this, I hope it hits you somewhere deeper than just your head. I hope it makes you want to be fair, even when it's hard, and speak truth, even when it shakes the room, because that's where real strength lives. Anyway, good luck out there, man. Keep your mind open, keep your heart clean, and don't let the noise mess with your signal. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for thinking with me. And remember, the real fight isn't out there, it's in here.